This is Magnus. He's 13. He's Norwegian. He's also
Pretty good at chess.
This is Garry Kasparov, 44 years. He is, the greatest chess player ever. Maybe. We'll get there. But among his 6 world championships, there was something Kasparov hadn't yet accomplished.
Obliterated child.
You see, Magnus was not a normal 13-year-old. He was known as something of a chess prodigy. He already held the title of International Master, just one step below the coveted Grandmaster tag. Kasparov was, of course, a Grandmaster, and had been, for about double the time Magnus had been alive. Garry Kasparov had 20 years sitting at the world number 1 spot. Garry Kasparov wasn't a man amongst boys, but a god among men. Now, we had a god against a boy. The match fell into our lap. The aging superstar, icon of the game, and the sprouting wonder kid, far apart in age, but close enough to play together and it not be weird.
Sorta.
So, luckily, a tournament came to Kasparov. Hey, you want to play against that prepubescent child genius kid? No, why the hell would I do that? I'm a legend. I have a reputation. I'm playing a toddler gains nothing. I'll give you an unspecified large amount of money. Yeah, let's do it. So, it was set. Don't think of it so much as getting to see LeBron vs. MJ in the finals, but more like a Washington Wizards Mike, getting matched up against a middle school LeBron James in a street ball tournament. Then, the game happened. It was in Iceland. That's the not icy one, remember. It's the first round of the tournament. Look at him. He's tiny. His opponent was fear and terror. Magnus is scared of Kasparov, as any man is, but his fears are usually bedtime and the dark. Garry Kasparov is the dark. And as sometimes happens in Iceland, the dark is nowhere to be found. Kasparov builds anticipation mixed with trepidation as he arrives late. 45 minutes after the match was to start, young Magnus waited and waited. Kasparov didn't show. This is the greatest ever. How could he duck a child? But he comes. He arrives, emerging from the shadows and quickly finding his place. Magnus plays the white pieces, getting to move first. Alright, I'll just go here, an average starting move, and Garry Kasparov instantly looks visibly distraught. Okay, well, he's probably fine. He knows what he's doing. They play an even opening, but eventually, as noticeable by posture, Magnus gains a stern advantage over the world champion. He puts him in a precarious situation, threatening to take the match. In chess, they say play the position, don't play the man. Luckily for Kasparov, there was no man for him to play. He flexed his ability, getting out of trouble and sending it to an even endgame. A few more trades and shuffles later, both realized there's no more ground to be made. The 41-year-old and 13-year-old saw it the same, and they called it a draw. An even draw was about as favorable to Magnus as possible. Right away, the young boy shot to fame as the kid who tied Kasparov. The narrative wasn't tie game, it was Kasparov didn't win. When Magnus was interviewed following the game, he was joyed but not satisfied. I played like a child, he said. Well, Magnus. Today, almost 20 years later, Magnus Carlson has stayed pretty good at chess. He now sits atop the world, hugging his 5 world championship trophies. Ironically enough, almost every chess fan will agree, Magnus sits somewhere in the top 3 greatest players of all time, alongside Bobby Fischer and his friend Garry Kasparov. Kasparov regained himself and was able to beat Magnus the next match and move past him to win this whole tournament. He retired in the very next year after. Kasparov went on to become Magnus's mentor, training intensely together until Magnus reached the world number 1 spot and no longer needed it. In 2014, Magnus passed his former mentor for the highest chess rating ever at 2861. In 2020, 16 years after their famous draw, the two played an exhibition match of Chess 960, a slightly different version of chess with a random opening array of pieces. In this match, they tied once again, with this one seeming like more of a favor towards Kasparov, given their flipped ages and primes.